Welcome everyone to the Poke Battle Network. It is Indigo PvP tonight, and we have two amazing teams as the TSwift fan clubs versus the Backstage battlers. Welcome everybody to Tuesday night Indigo PvP. I am Sosaflo, and with me is Miss Hurricane Kaz. How you doing today, Miss Kaz?
Oh my God, I'm doing so great. I'm so pumped to see these battles. Like, I saw the trainer list and the ban list and everything, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible.
The trainer list was stacked. These teams are incredible factions teams. I reached out to Team TSwift, and Backstage Battlers actually reached out to me and was like, we're looking for a fight. We're looking to get into it. I was like, I got a team. Let's get going. So we got these two amazing battling teams that are just coming off of King of the Hill and just still want to battle. They joined us for a wonderful Indigo PvP. For all those who don't know what Indigo PvP are, it is two teams of 5 trainers. Each team will ban 5 Pokemon. So there'll be a total of 10 bans. Then those teams will be given those 10 bans, and within the teams, the trainers will choose their lines of 6. No same Pokemon can be on the same trainer's line, so no 2 trainers can have the same Pokemon. And then we put them all up, we roll the dice, pill their names, and pair them up. Then we get to watch these amazing battles as they try to win a point for their team, and the first team to 8 takes off the Indigo PvP. Miss Kaz, you were here with us last time for an amazing show between the Underground as they went off on iCarly. How have you enjoyed it here so far with the Indigo for those battles?
This is so fun. Like, I am a huge fan of factions. My own team, the Queen Bees, unfortunately did not last too long in King of the Hill, but we gave it our best shot. And factions has always been, ever since it was introduced, one of my favorite formats for Sylph. Like, the group battling aspect is really fun, and it makes it like it really lowers the stress levels that you might experience in a regular tournament going from round to round. So I love, the team camaraderie and the teamwork that goes into this battling format. So the fact that even though Sylph is going away, we can still continue group battling, until we figure out what's coming next is really cool. And I love that this has become such a regular occurrence, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Happy to have you back. Factions is amazing. These team battles that Factions has provided, the team build was so great because then you start talking to friends, you start people who might not be in your locals or are part of your locals. You just help build the community. So the fact that we're losing Factions again hits the heart to know others, and I hope everybody was able to watch Continentals this weekend as we had 4 amazing productions on Sylph. Go check that out at the Sylph Arena. But with the Sylph season ending and Factions going away, Indigo PvP is here for teams to stay together and have something to look forward to until Project Zygarden comes. So be on the lookout. Project Zygarden is coming. There's been murmurs and rumors and talks. I've been in with the development crew, seeing where it's coming. We're waiting till after all of the world's craziness is done, and then more information will be coming out for teams there. So as we're winding down on King of the Hill and the Factions world, be on the lookout for Project Zygarden. Miss Kaz, what's up?
Oh, no, I'm just everything you said. I also feel Continentals this weekend was super exciting. The battles that were featured on stream were really intense. This finale of Sylph has been, while sad, very incredible to watch. Like, the community really coming together and hyping one another up and producing some amazing content has been really, really amazing to watch.
Absolutely a great way to send us off and say thank you for everything. As we're gonna get into the bans next of the Indigo PvP, it's really interesting here. People really hate Bastiodon, Kaz. Like, not gonna lie, it got banned last month.
I don't like Bastiodon. I mean, I'm sorry, Caleb, but no. Like, no thank you. I'm a fan of flyers, and I want to get rid of everything that gets in the way of my flyers. But unfortunately, Flyers are also out here as we see Noctowl banned on both teams as well. It's the typical pick, in kind of more open metas. And Altaria has seen like an increase in play in some of the latest regionals. And that also the Swifties decided to ban.
With the Trevenant fall, I say that real hard because Trevenant still
true.
hits.
I haven't seen it though. Like it's not there anymore.
And it's not really and Noctowl Noctowl was mainly to hold the Trevenant down. It soaks up the Shadow Balls, but now that Trevenant's no longer there, Noctowl's Prevenance isn't so much needed. That's why Altaria, I like the ban of Altaria. That Dragon Breath is so oppressive. But my biggest thing is Altaria is there for Swampert. So why would you ban a Swampert if you're banning Altaria as well? That is crazy. Because Altaria is such one of the best Dragon Breath users to go against that Swampert. Yeah. And Swampert, Butters called it at NAIC. Swampert is one of the best closers in this game. You give Swampert a shield advantage and the back line, it'll do whatever it needs to. So banning both Altaria and Swampert, oxymoron, but you never know. Maybe only one person can hold on to that Pokemon, remember? So it's very great that they both ban it. What was it last week? Was there 3 similar bans last week and 3 similar bans this week?
Yeah, last week, I'm not sure of the exact Pokemon, but last week we had a lot of very similar bans. I do remember Flyers also, taking a hit, Bastiodon, nobody wants to see. But we also see from the Backstage battlers, we see that very common core of Medicham and Sableye has also been banned. Basically, we're looking at the remix meta right now, I think.
Most of the remix meta.
These are all the Pokemon that Remix in GBL has taken away. So basically, we might be seeing some of the same things that you're seeing in GBL in the Remix Cup. Things like Quagsire, Golbat, can come out to play and not be as fearful of some of these Pokemon that are very typically used.
There are some very interesting Pokemon, especially since Remix is out now. People can start feeling better about it. So in these drafts, absolutely they're going to reach for those Pokemon that they're already playing with over GBL. They're like, oh, I got a line of 3. Guys, I'm doing really well with this line of 3. So it's a great thought process here. Again, my only thing I'm going to say is that I hate seeing all meta bans because if you think about it, only one trainer can have that Pokemon. So it's not like every trainer can hold on to a Sableye or have the Bastiodon. Only one person can have the Bastiodon. So in metas like this, I feel like Bastiodon, the ban of Bastiodon, as great as it is, right? You can still get the same value from it with Alolan Sandslash, with, Registeel or G-Fist. Whereas, like, Altaria, there really isn't another Altaria. There really isn't another Swampert out there.
You see people try and simulate that, like, in Remix Go Battle League by using Dragonair or even Dragonite, just to get that Dragon Breath pressure, which can be super oppressive in a meta where there's not a lot to resist it, right? Fairies have not been as common in that meta, so it can be really intimidating. So people do find a way. I think the meta ban picks are just sort of a default response of like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. Get it done. We're so tired of it. We do see the number 1 Medicham is gone. Everybody in NAIC, I think it had a 70 to 80% use rate. In the top 8, the only person that didn't bring it was Wadaj.
It's all Medicham. Is what we should call this meta.
It's the meta. It's the Medicham. META Cham. But with that ban, that's a great ban opening up for other Flyers, and Noctowl, Altaria being banned too. Fighters now have a great play. But Miss Kaz, we've seen these bans. We know what this looks like now. We've been in Remix for almost half a week. Are you ready for some battles?
I am so ready for the first one. Let's get into it.
All right. So our first team tonight is we're gonna have Jerps versus Pokeballin, and they are rocking. Jerps is rocking.
I mean, over on Jerpy's team, I'm a huge fan of Pelipper. Like even in open metas, I think that the spamminess of Weather Ball and the potential coverage of Hurricane is like really strong. And I think that it could have a lot of really nice play, like neutral play against Pokeballin's team as well. Like the Weather Ball spam alone, I think can hit most of that team pretty effectively. You'll need the Hurricane for Mantine and Venusaur, but I think the coverage is really strong there. Yeah. And then over on Pokeball inside, like I'm a huge Quagsire fan. Like I'm using Quagsire in Remix right now, and that buff to Medbomb was incredible.
Yeah.
And I think Quagsire, I mean, with the coverage of just Medbomb and Stone Edge, oh my gosh, incredible for Jerpy's against Jerpy's whole team.
Yeah, the Shadow Mud Bomb now with that 5 extra from Quagsire almost makes it hit as hard as a drill run with a little less energy. So it's wonderful to see that new boost up happen with this Pokemon who just got this new buff right before Worlds. I personally love the fact that both battlers have the G-Fisk, so we don't have to worry about G-Fisk being out for anybody else. G-Fisk is done. We got one Umbreon off the table.
Yeah, good. Let's get it out of the way.
We're not going to see an Umbreon matchup. For you, the one I do want to point out, and we're going to start the matchup, is the 2 grass Pokemon that both of these battlers have are both very strong anti-grass grass picks. So we'll have to see how they play it out as Defense Deoxys goes right into Cofagrigus. Immediate swaps out by Pokeball and into that Stunfisk.
Stunfisk is a great safe swap here. It can take moves from Cofagrigus, like not, it doesn't love them, but it doesn't quite hate them either. So you can see the Shadow Ball takes about just a little over half the damage there. And can take that pretty comfortably and have enough energy to throw Earthquake at this Umbreon that Jerpy's has now thrown in to soak that damage.
Did you see that catch? A beautiful catch there by Jerpy's. Umbreon now the tanky Pokemon that we all love to see, throwing that foul play, Pokeball and giving up that shield.
I mean, there was so much energy on that Stunfisk from Pokeball, and he has to protect that. He has to try and get this really tanky Umbreon out of the way. And did you notice that this Umbreon is actually running Foul Play Psychic?
Ooh, maybe this is a remix Umbreon. You never know, but I like the Psychic call because you don't really need return on against anything, and that Venusaur looks really prominent here against Jerpsy team. So
that definitely gives Umbreon an advantage in that matchup where, I mean, Umbreon is super tanky, but Frenzy Plant is so strong a move that it really does not want to, stay in that matchup longer than it has to. And that's Umbreon.
Absolutely. And Umbreon's tank. Umbreon's so thick. He's like, we're still talking about Umbreon on the 3rd Pokemon from Pokeball now as Defense Deoxys gets Umbreon not even out yet, but swaps to the Lickitung.
The Lickitung catches this foul play, which is such a great play from Pokeball in there, because Lickitung is basically the tanky answer that's not dark to that Umbreon, can soak a lot of damage and, again, take the Earthquakes from now Jerpy's Galarian Stunfisk like they're nothing.
Wow, G-Fisks are coming out and showing and reminding everybody why they should be banned and why if you don't ban these Pokemon, they're gonna make you pay. As the G-Fisk here lands the Earthquake, bringing that tanky Lickitung down to the deep red, we're gonna get another charge move off. If this is the right call, the Rock Slide will not KO. It's the right call. Undercharge 2. Ooh, that might be enough for a Power Whip.
Now the Lickitung is going to get to the Power Whip. And will Jerpy's give up the last shield to protect that energy that he has left? No, going to let it go. And this just barely doesn't take out the Stunfisk and can now throw a Rock Slide against this Deoxys form, defense form, which can take this move, but is going to be able to get 1 counter of extra energy.
There is a lot. The Cobra Grigas is swapping in and so thick.
And this Psycho Boost is going to debuff the Deoxys defense form. And and it doesn't even get to a second move. And now Lickitung just does not have the health or energy to do anything against that coffin. My goodness.
There was the one thing I noticed here from Pokeballin is he tried to do a lot of swapping in and out when the timer was up, and it locked his Pokemon in, but he was locking his Pokemon in to get some chunk damage. Like, the Deoxys did not need to take that Rock Slide to the face. Didn't need to have happen. But now your Deoxys is locked in, you know?
Yeah, sometimes the swaps function like a shield. You swap in something to try and take the damage that you don't want to land on something else. And that can be an effective strategy, but sometimes it just doesn't, the energy doesn't go quite where you think it, quite where you want it to. But we have our new matchup here with the Umbreon from Jerpies versus the Shadow Quagsire from Pokeballin. So happy to see that Pokemon come out.
It is absolutely, ever since I got the charge move update from Mud Bomb, we will expect more Mud Bomb users to pop up. Unova, Fisk, Toxicroak, one NAIC, and of course you've got the legendary Quagsire with Stone Edge and Mud Bomb. Like, as a Mud Boy, one of the hardest things up against Mud Boys, the only hard thing against Mud Boy is grass. Everything else hits neutral. So this is a huge boost for this Quagsire. As a foul play, it's just going to keep it in the red still. Umbreon, so tanky, but cannot get to another foul play as a Mud Bomb will go off.
I don't think this is enough to take out the Umbreon. It's still in the yellow, and this Mud Bomb, even though buffed, is not quite strong enough. And now the Umbreon has a foul play to throw against this very low health Quagsire. Pokeballin opts not to shield, going to let this go as he does not have too much energy stored, and now brings out the Mantine, and very quickly met with a Galarian Stunfisk from Jerpies.
This is really interesting. Jerpies swapping into the Rock Slide user immediately on this flyer. Gonna get the Bubble Beam, call it. As you see the Lickitung tapping away, but this is CMP tie going to Mantine. So Mantine's going to just let this Rock Slide go through. It's debuffed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even take it to half the health if it was regular buffed.
Exactly.
Mantine is such a healthy Pokemon. I like the choice of Mantine in these draft tournaments. I think utility.
I mean, I was talking up Pelipper earlier, but Mantine as a water flyer is also very useful. It cannot hit as hard as Pelipper since it usually runs just Ice Beam and Bubble Beam. So it doesn't have like the same like punch that Pelipper does, but the coverage is still very good and it's much tankier. So it just now, Pokeballin throws up a shield to protect the last health on this Mantine so that it can get a lot of extra energy. And maybe we see a potential attempt to catch on Umbreon from Jerpies. But now Pokeballin has the ability to swap out to Lickitung to catch this foul play. Oh my gosh, that does so little. And now Lickitung can even lick down the Umbreon. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious indeed. Again, Ballin just locking his Pokemon in there, but the Umbreon not going down on that swap and still being able to get the foul play off is going to be huge, as this counter user with Shadow Boost and 2 shields is going to just, oh my goodness, just take this body slam? You crazy. You crazy, Jerps. Jerps, what you doing, buddy?
I know, Machamp, like, Shadow Machamp is so glassy, but again, it doesn't quite faint from that move and can build up some extra energy before throwing the cross chop to get that Lickitung out of the way. And now Mantine comes in and can farm down.
Look at this, 2.5 Bubble Beams. This was so smart on Jerpies to recognize this opportunity that Mantine had all of this energy, because double Bubble Beam almost takes you to the red. So if he allowed 2 Bubble Beams to go through, he's out. Whereas he's only going to allow 1. See how 1 took it to the deep red? Oh my
Oh
goodness,
my god.
both battlers with a shield apiece trying to get to their charge moves. It looks like Jerp still will be able to get to the 2 rock slides and be able to take this, but will it be enough? Double debuffed here. Will
Oh
that
my
be
gosh.
enough to take it out?
I mean, this will be enough because Pokeball throws up their last shield now, and they don't quite have the move, so that Galarian Stunfisk from Jerpies is able to throw this last rock slide, and even triple debuffed, it's going to be more than enough to get that very low health Mantine out of the way. Jerpies securing that second point.
Wow, G-Fisk showing up what it is about, but holding on to the shield and recognizing the energy onto that Mantine that he could still
Mhm.
get in there with the little bit of health that it had left is a huge read of in-game macro play, and great
Mhm.
job on Jerps to recognize that and call that out and keep his shields. Because if I'm a champ, I'm saving my shield. What am I? I'm gonna let this body slam go through. I'm gonna farm you down and go after the Mantine. But he gets the lead, the
Oh
Machop
my gosh,
into
yes.
the Lickitung, and now it's Machamp, which Quagsire doesn't want to see these counters either.
Yeah, I mean, they're just neutral damage, but shadow on shadow damage, oh, it hurts so bad, and it hurts to watch. But and now that we've seen the Quagsire come in instead of the Lickitung from Pokemon, we see that Quagsire being met by the Umbreon to just soak all of this damage, because even though this Quagsire is shadow and has that little bit of boost to the damage, Umbreon is still a tank, everybody, and can take these mud bombs like they are nothing.
Yawn. Anybody else do things fun
Rosa,
today?
Rosa, you awake?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Umbreon's still on. I mean, when I closed my eyes last time, we have an
It's true.
Umbreon matchup. You're absolutely right. This thing is so tanky. So it's a great, in these style battles, in these tournaments, the Umbreon is one of the best Pokemon here because it's so neutral and can soak up
Mhm.
all of this energy. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Here, you're going to get another foul play. Remember, Quagsire swapped in and had tons
Yeah.
of energy before Umbreon even came out. So
Mhm.
this
And
was
had to
tough
give up
matchup.
a shield to try and get some of that energy off, because I mean, as much as it can spam those mud bombs, it still needs the time and resources to do so. So Pokeballin's down a shield now and is going to do their best to lick down this Umbreon. Oh my gosh. But that gives Umbreon time to get to this next foul play, which, I mean, Lickitung can take, but is going to get down to below half health in the process.
That Umbreon just took that beefy Lickitung and said, "Come on, boy. Show me what you got." Like, almost had another foul play off of that lick, too, and
Yeah,
couldn't get it
and
off. But there's
now,
so much energy now. Immediate swaps, and here comes Cofagrigus into the Mantine.
yes,
Kofa.
and this is, I mean, this is another pretty neutral matchup, but again, Mantine is able to spam off these bubble beams and lower that decently high attack from Cofagrigus, so that even its hard hitting Shadow Ball can be tanked by this Water Flyer.
Yeah, this team that Jerps has drafted with Umbreon, Cofagrigus, and
Oh
G-Fizz
my gosh.
is absolutely pretty strong in
Yeah.
all of the metas. Like, even in if you took this to have that half of the team to a regional, you could pretty much have this same result. Two
Yeah.
shields, two Pokemon still feeling really good, can soak up energy almost against everything.
Yeah, and Jerpies knows it. He's like overcharging, against this Mantine, knowing that it doesn't, do a lot to threaten it. And Jerpy still has both of his shields.
Mantine trying to debuff as much as he can.
Oh my
Shadow
god.
Ball
Look
does a
at that
quarter of its health.
Shadow. But Covagrigus now gets to the Dark Pulse just one Shadow Claw faster than the Shadow Ball, and will throw that to get this Mantine out of the way before it can debuff anyone else. And now you have a Lickitung met with this Machamp with energy, and even all of the body slam spam in the world is not enough to put up with that many punches.
Not
Oh,
even with a shield, with an opponent, the shield, it was not going to be in his favor. Had to farm down and didn't happen for him. So unfortunate for Pokeball. And that is all going to go Jerp's way as we're going to head to the analyst desk. Hello, everybody. Oh, no, everybody. The scoreboards look a little wonky. Here we go, everybody.
just a little live fix. That's
Just
fine.
a little
I mean,
fix. We've seen them before.
Pokeballin does have incredible like management of his timing. Like the swaps that he was doing were completely on point. Catching
Mm-hmm.
moves left and right, using those sort of extra shields
Yeah.
that he has access to. And especially like knowing like bringing out that Mantine for the last two matches, knowing the debuff potential against the very hard hitting moves that Jerpies was, Pokemon were packing. I think that shows a really strong awareness of his strength of swaps, and being able to get that energy where it needs to go. It's just unfortunate that Jerpies team just straight up just overpowers that
Over
energy, that
tanks.
timing, that timing management.
You're absolutely right. You called it as it is. Pokeball, excellent battler, making the catches, timing it out perfectly. Same with Jerps. The in-game macro plays between both of these battlers were great. The difficulty about it, though, is that Jerps' team was very set up for mostly neutral play and to soak up damage and out-tanked Pokeballin's team. Pokeballin brought Lickitung, Mantine, and Quagsire to almost every matchup, and those three Pokemon are real thick, tanky Pokemon. But when it comes to Umbreon, you don't mess with Umbreon. If you don't have a fighter on there that isn't weak to foul play, you're in a lot of trouble. And Umbreon
Yeah.
got exploited in this round and just went to
We
town.
saw in the first matchup that Pokeball tried to bring Deoxys to counter down that Umbreon. Specifically, they knew that that was one of their best counters in that scenario, and even that's like not really a great counter because it's also taking super effective from the foul plays. But it can do a lot of damage with that counter in the meantime. But then met with the Cofagrigus coming out every time, that
Oh.
Deoxys just did not have a lot of room to maneuver. And we saw Pokeball leave it out on the bench for the last two matchups.
We saw him leave the Venusaur on the bench. And I wonder if that's because of the Abomasnow pressure that Venusaur was left on the bench. Because Jerps did, the battlers are allowed to change their lineups and change their Pokemon moves once they see their opponents to help even out more of these matchups, to help allow more of those Swiss Army knife Pokemon to actually be paired up properly, be utilized properly. And so he did that, but Venusaur never came, was left on the bench, and Jerps just was like, cool, I'm just gonna bring and G-Fisk, and we'll just play by ear. And took
I do think
three of that.
Venusaur had a lot more potential than Pokeball took advantage of there. I mean, yes, you do have to worry a lot about that Abomasnow matchup, but Obama like, I don't know. I guess since they were running double water as well with the Mantine and the Quagsire, they were just worried that one Obama would be able to sweep through the entire team, which I totally get. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Venusaur seems like a pretty solid pick.
It was a pretty solid pick, and it would have played.
All right,
Absolutely, but you're absolutely right, because it's like, Pokeballin's team is kind of asking for Abomasnow to come out, which is bad because Venusaur is so strong. So later in the matchups there, you just got to figure that out. Jerps did get a couple of leads in the matchups as well, which did help him succeed because he was able to land a couple of those extra moves for those swaps, which then helped the Umbreon just run and go wild. But to take anything away, these matchups were so close with all of the energy. It really was a flip of the matchup or just a small in-game play that could have tilted the game either way.
Yeah.
But great battles there from both. And as we're going to move on to game 2 now.
Yeah, incredible battles to start us off. And we did see some meta picks there in the Galarian Stunfisk and the Umbreon, but even that showed a really impressive use of both energy management and timing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I see one of my other least favorite Pokemon over here.
Oh no, we'll have to get into
Freaking
that.
freaking Shadow Victory Bell. Ugh.
Oh, well, first off, can I just say welcome to the Indigo PvP Victory Bell, as this was one of the first times we're going to see Victory Bell. I had to re-download this Pokemon. When I do all these building of teams, I have to add the sprites of Pokemon that I've never used or has not been a part of the Indigo League. So, Victory Bell here, one of those big old nods there. But I'm loving this Empoleon, Tropius, Victory Bell, Scrafty, Shadow Gramble, and Shadow Walrein team from Matt Caladine, where Old Painty Can is bringing the Skarmory, Whimsicott, Shadow Politoed, Dunsparce, Machamp Shadow, and Umbreon.
I love these teams. I do. I mean, I hate Shadow Victory Bell personally, like in my heart, but I still love seeing like the diversity on both of these teams. And I mean, you can't ignore the the ABB double grass potential of Matt Callandine's team over there with both the Tropius and the Victory Bell. It's a pretty strong pick. We see a lot in both open format and limited metas. So I'm betting that there's some play, waiting there.
The question is what is the A? Because if the A is Walrein, then you've got to worry about Dunsparce. You got to worry about Bench Trap, where you put a Pokemon on the bench that actually could work really well for you.
Yep.
But that's all depends on how these battlers come out it. It's so interesting. Like, I love the concept of the ABB that Matt Klein did, but Old Painty Can has an answer for every A.
And I think that Skarmory actually looks really strong for Old Painty Can. I mean, it can do a lot of good damage against Matt Callandine's whole team over there. I mean, it struggles a little against the Empoleon, but at the same time, it can still. Empoleon's not the thickest bird, so it's still gonna have to take a lot of sky attacks in the meantime, or Brave Bird if it's near the end of the match.
Yeah. Now, looking at Umbreon on Old Painty Can's team, Umbreon was so good in the last matchup, but I don't think it's going to hold as well in this matchup with that Gramble and that Scrafty there. Not to mention the Victory Bell could do some Acid Spray, which would help maybe the Empoleon out or the Icicle Spears of that Shadow Walrein. Mm-hmm. But, Miss Kaz, we have been introduced, or there has been an announcement that is coming in August of one of these Pokemon that we are going to have a community day of, and that is that Shadow Politoed. And it's going to be getting Ice Beam. Now, right now, it's got Blizzard, and it's really bad. But with that Ice Beam boost,
hey now,
it's not the greatest, right? You got to wait. You only have really one move, Weather Ball Spam, and then, Blizzard if you don't want to lose. But with the Ice Beam now, I feel like this Pokemon, I'm really excited to see. Hopefully we get to see it. I mean, you don't want to see a double grass user on the other end, but
no. I mean, but the Ice Beam coverage is going to make it very strong, since it, obviously we'll be able to get to that a lot faster than it gets to Blizzard currently. Yeah. And it can already get to Blizzard pretty fast thanks to Mudshot. Exactly. So yeah, it's going to make it a very, very deadly frog come its community day.
But it's not right now, as right now we don't know what it's rocking. It's probably rocking Earthquake or Blizzard. We'll have to find out, as we are going to go back into the arena now and get into this matchup of Matt Caladine versus Old Painty Can, as TSwifty's got a 3-0 lead on Backstage Battlers.
Ooh, let's get into it. Let's see if Old Painty can bring up the score. Ooh. And we do see a water-on-water violence with the Empoleon from Matt Callandine and the Shadow Politoed from Old Painty Can. Both immediately swap out, and oh my gosh, the Grand Bull swap out is from Matt Callandine is met by a Skarmory, which it definitely did not want to see.
No, pulling out immediately and getting himself into an RPS is not good, but here's the thing. Empoleon can do some good damage on that Skarmory, and there is that Razor Leafer in the back.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see what is brought out on old Panty Can's team, as we cannot tell what that is yet.
Yeah,
But
I can't quite see what the teammates are for these Pokemon. Yeah, a little live adjustment, live adjustment.
live adjustments. But as you see, these not hydro cannons, these waterfalls take out the Skarmory. As you see, Politoed and Machamp still available there for our good friend Old Painted Can as
Gosh,
Politoed comes right back.
neither one of those are going to love that Shadow Victory Bell in the back. I mean, and that's the reason that people run the Shadow Victory Bell, right? Is just the sheer infuriating pressure of Shadow Razor Leaf on most of the meta is super painful.
Kaz, sounds like you've had some personal
Listen.
vendetta. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, as another weather ball is gonna spam off onto Empoleon, not take it out with that steel typing. Does not take it out. The water typing keeps it around, as you're gonna get a Razor Leafing down on that Shadow Machamp.
Oh my gosh, it's just so painful to watch. Like, it does so much insane damage if it's not resisted. I mean, you see even Old Penny Count, I think, just straight up stopped tapping there because the futility of the effort was just not worth it anymore in the face of such damage.
I think he told his roommate to call his phone, so he'd be like, "I don't need to watch this. Can you call my phone, please?
Can somebody call me? I don't need to finish
End
this."
match. Let's make it look like I got interrupted at the end there. We all know what Razor Leaf does, and this is what Razor Leaf is now. If you ban those flying Pokemon, Razor Leaf can come out. There was still a flying Pokemon on these two teams. I don't remember if there was a flying Pokemon on Jerpsy's team. But
I think that was kind of the strategy from Matt Calladine in that first game was, okay, let me send out the Granbull, and that will definitely lure out the Skarmory, and that clears the way for the Victory Bell in the end. And so we see a similar strategy here with Empoleon from Matt Calladine on the lead again, but this time Skarmory lead from Old Pinty Can swaps out, giving the Shadow Granbull the opportunity to charm down someone else.
Empoleon is such a great force there in this matchup, leading with it, calling the Skarmory, getting the Mudshot Boy on it, as Granbull's going to charm it down. Empoleon sitting in the back, a great utility Pokemon. Look at that. Skarmory or Machamp? Who wants to see the steal? But you've got to wonder if Old Painty Can's going to be like, I've got to bring out Machamp because there's probably a Victory Bell in the back.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Calladine gave up both of his shields to get as much energy as possible on this Granbull, but now Skarmory might almost be able to farm down if Old Pintycan wants to give up another shield.
It is debuff, so I would suggest doing it, and that is a great call by Old Painty Can. Giving up the shield. Will he get another debuff? No. Look at Charms now acting like strong rock throws on this steel typing. Get out of here. The waterfall user comes in, Machamp comes in, and great job there. Old Painty Can trying to draw out the Victory Bell, gets the Rock Slide off, and the Rock Slide should take the Victory Bell to the deep red.
Yeah, the Victory Bell is so, like the Shadow Victory Bell is so glassy that Rock Slide, even non-stab Rock Slide from Machamp takes it right out. But now we have this matchup that no one wanted to stay in the beginning, but Skarmory does have quite an energy lead here. Unfortunately, resisted damage on Empoleon means it's going to be able to survive and get this Hydro Cannon off.
Kaz, the Machamp throwing the energy and KOing that Granbull gave the Empoleon the one extra tap it needed to do one tap for that Hydro Cannon. That was insane.
Goodness gracious. It's like that Victory Bell is just so oppressive. And there's really, I mean, except for the Skarmory, there's really nothing on Old Penny Can's team that wants to just sit there and take that damage. I mean, certainly Umbreon and Whimsicott could, But, oh, and we do see the Umbreon come out now from Old Painted Can to lead off against this Empoleon, a pretty neutral matchup. And we do see, again, that swap into Shadow Granbull from Matt Calladine to be met by the Skarmory. But, I mean, it's the same trap from the first match, right? Like, if you get this Skarmory out of the way, then Shadow Victory Bell with shields later can just sweep down almost everything.
Matt Calladine just closed his eyes and told his team, guys, I'm running Empoleon, Victory Bell Shadow, and Granbull Shadow and Remix, and I just want to do that in the Indigo PvP. Throw me a Tropius, a Walrein, and a Scrafty. I'll be fine, whatever. Yeah.
Old Painted Can gives up his first shield to protect a boatload of energy on this Skarmory, but will be met by the Empoleon, and I think he's going to have to swap out immediately after this to try and preserve some of that energy for the Victory Bell. Going to go ahead and throw.
He can't swap out. The switch timers are still
locked up.
The
switch timers are still locked. Oh my God.
Brave Bird goes through.
Oh, just trying desperately
Dunzo.
to get a shield from Matt Calladine, but cannot do it.
You see, Old Painted Can did not bring them a champ, did not bring the Politoed, brought in 2 thick Pokemon and said, if you Razor Leaf me again, I am going to outlast it this time. And here he goes.
This time for sure.
Here he goes.
Third time
it in.
is the charm.
Right?
Yeah.
Can I get a point?
Now we see Matt Calladine finally giving up a shield. Oh, and this Umbreon is running Dark Pulse Last Resort, so is going to be able to throw a little bit extra damage, but does swap out as soon as the option is available so that Dunsparce can start getting some chips, since Dunsparce, with its move update, can get to the Drill Run fairly quickly.
This is not one of the newest drill runs,
Not
even though,
newest, but fairly new.
I'm noticing how they keep giving
acid spray.
You see?
No.
They acid spray debuff. They go for the farm. Yeah. They're disturbing plays of Victory Bell users. You never know if it's acid spray, sludge bomb, or leaf blade,
my God,
or
but
leaf
the drill
tornado.
run from Dunsparce doesn't even take out the Victory Bell.
Can you get to the leaf blade? Can you get to the leaf blade?
Oh, farmed down by the Umbreon, which can now throw the last Dark Pulse against this Empoleon. And finally, Old Painted Can finds the formula to get that Shadow Victory Bell out of the way and secure a point for the Backstage Battlers.
That was a great matchup there by Matt Calladine by having the same 3. Great for Old Painted Can to making the adjustments. But, woof. I might have to perma-ban Victory Bell. That thing is, oh my goodness.
The damage is just so, like, from Victory Bell and Granbull combined is just so oppressive that there's so little you can do if you don't have the right counters. And Old Painted Can, to their credit, tried to bring Skarmory in different positions, trying to get it in the right spot, but just never quite could get it lined up against that Shadow Victory Bell. Rude, honestly. Victory Bell.
No, because with the Granbull, that Skarmory had such great play against the team. Matt knew it was coming out, and so he set the trap in game 1, and again in game 3, same trap. Only this time the back Pokemon for Old Painted Can wasn't a frail Shadow Machamp.
He was like,
it was a tanky Umbreon or Dunsparce.
They were like, this isn't the trap you think it is.
We done. They're like, we're so done with this. We're so over this.
It was a great adjustment from Old Painted Can, and definitely a well-earned point from that last match.
Absolutely. As now it is 5-1 from Swifties. Oh my goodness.
But we still have three battlers from each team left to go, and I am familiar with a lot of the members of Backstage Battlers, and they have a lot of fight in them. So let's see what our next matchup is.
Oh, is this your hometown? I forgot they're from.
They're from down there. Some of them are from Georgia. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. Okay. I'm familiar with a few of them in different ways.
Well, you're definitely familiar with this Backstage Battler, as she is a little bit frosty.
Yes.
She is a little bit mean, and she is absolutely a final boss. Well,
Yes.
it's Final Boss AJ versus Red Panda. If there is anybody that can get their team up and running, it is Final Boss AJ. And girl, you introduced this lineup because this just seems like an AJ lineup indeed.
Indeed, it does. It wouldn't be Final Boss AJ if we did not see a Frostlass on her team. It's her signature Pokemon, one of her favorites, and for good reason. She knows exactly how to use it. But we also see a Scrafty, a Shadow Charizard, the Togedemaru, the Cradily, and Tapu Fini. Excellent additions there. And on Red Panda 405 side, we see Registeel, Meganium, Pachirisu, Dubwool, Shadow Gliscor, excuse me, and there's another Mantine. Oh my gosh, I just realized that like both teams banned Bastiodon, but no one banned Registeel, and that's just why. Why are we here now?
They didn't
Why have
ban
we allowed this to
Registeel, they
happen?
didn't ban G-Fisk. They're like, we're going to let these meta Pokemon play.
Yeah. And I do think Registeel, I mean, obviously it has quite a bit to be afraid of from Final Boss AJ's team, but I think that it's one of the best neutral plays that Red Panda 405 has. And I definitely expect to see it on the field.
And I expect to see Togedemaru shake everybody's minds up when they watch a boosted Felstinger Wild Charge take out the Registeel, and you're sitting there like,
Oh my God.
what?
I would literally pay money to see that.
We'll probably see it tonight. That's why Togedemaru, and so some more new Pokemon that showed up today. Togedemaru is one of them, is our first welcoming in, and Pachirisu, who is going to be in this Go Fest this year. So when you're out there for London, when you're out there for New York or Yokohama these next few weekends, be sure to look for it. If you've got the global ticket, Pachirisu, the tanky electric, absolutely. But right now, Togedemaru, we just had a wonderful event with it. I was in Fresno watching Night Clash play with it, and we were all auto wrecking, and people were like, show me a battle against Togedemaru, and like people want to play against him against the Togedemaru, and the way he just effortlessly, this Pokemon is so strong, you won't even see it coming. It plays like a Golem of Alolan style, where you build up for the 2 Wild Charge, but it's tankier, it can take a hit. It's a wonderful Pokemon. I feel like AJ's got a great thing in that.
Yeah. I think AJ has always demonstrated that she's pretty good at balancing what people typically see as glassy Pokemon. She knows the hidden potential that they have. You know, Frostlass has Shadow Ball and can almost destroy anything that doesn't resist it.
Yeah.
Togedemaru is another one, like you were talking about. It's one of those Pokemon, whenever I encounter it, it's like you think you know how much energy it has, but you're wrong.
You're wrong. So wrong.
How many wild charges can it have? 4, 5,
as many, 12.
As many as it needs, really.
Throw out whatever it wants.
Anytime I've encountered it, I almost never even see it throw Felstinger. It just throws Wild Charge, Wild Charge, Wild Charge, Wild Charge, and you only get 2 shields. It's just unfair, honestly.
It is. This is interesting on Red Panda side as we're looking at it too, with the Togedemaru on AJ's side. Final boss, Red Panda got that double, has 2 electrics right away. So you're kind of thinking, give it the payback, but at the same time, I would feel giving it the Wild Charge here would be just as good against that Frostlass and against most of Final Boss's AJ's team.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that doesn't want to see that, that can take the Wild Charge rather, is the Cradily and the Togedemaru. You know, like they can both kind of handle the Wild Charge. So Payback, I think, has a little bit more neutral play, since you can probably just spam down the Tapu Fini. Like you can just spam that anyway. And if you're stuck against that Scrafty, I mean, you want to just be throwing out as much spam as possible. So I don't know. I think I would favor Payback here, just because it doesn't, it hits harder and it doesn't debuff, self debuff. So for me, that would be my call, but I'm excited to see what Red Panda chooses.
I'm excited to too, as we are gonna have Red Panda holding it down for TSwift fan club. The Swifties are out, girl. I am not one. I don't know anything about them, but they are out there in
But
force.
they are fierce, and
They
I
are
can see
fierce.
that from the scorecard. I think that that AJ knows that too. And if I know AJ, then she's gonna pull out all the stops with these battles.
Well, let's head down to the field and see her pull them out. As we're gonna get Registeel into the
See, there's that
Crudilly.
Registeel. No, this is like the worst matchup.
Immediate swaps out, and here comes Miss Frostlass.
Interesting. She swaps into Frostlass, which can do a lot of really great neutral damage. It straight up resists the Focus Blast from Registeel. So Registeel has to throw Zap Cannon, which Frostlass can actually take one and does get the Shadow Ball off first.
I'm actually really intrigued that Frostlass got to throw that Shadow Ball first because the Zap Cannon has that debuff, right? But no debuff, and in comes the Mantine. And you know what? Mantine being the only flyer that can kind of take an avalanche, you know, with that water typing, it doesn't do too much. But also that defense of Mantine. This is why we love it here in the drafts, because it can be utilized as anything with the wing attack now and that boost. Ooh, Mantine, so good.
But now you have Mantine stuck against, I assume, the Credilli coming back in. And especially with the latest move update, Credilli got access to Rock Slide, which it gets to at the exact same time as Grass Knot. Oh, an Ice Beam comes out from Red Panda's Mantine, totally thinking that AJ would not be giving up the shield because of the potential bait, and does get to another Bubble Beam in time as well. AJ is severely overcharging onto this Credilli, wanting to get as much energy as possible, not just for the Mantine, but for whatever comes in next.
Yeah, and she knows it's the Registeel in the back, and she's got her Charizard there, so she needs to be able to force the shield off of at least the Registeel or something, because look, it's a Pachirisu Electric in the back, and you don't want that against here, because in comes the immediate swap, and it's Volt switching all the way to Charizard.
Cruel and unusual punishment. Charizard from AJ going to go straight for the Blast Burn here, and the Pachirisu, I think, senses it, throwing up the first shield from Red Panda to protect all of the energy. Oh my gosh. Will it farm all the way down? Oh no.
It's got all the energy, almost 2 charge moves, 2 nuke moves ready to go, Thunderbolts, 3 Thunder Punches, and don't forget half health Registeel in the back. The immediate taps to the Thunder Punch. AJ understands what's going on here, and Pachirisu, welcome. The debuts of the new Pokemon that are debuting tonight are absolutely stunning. You've got the Victory Bell, you got the Gramble, and now Pachirisu there, finally taking down.
I'm really surprised at how much damage even the Volt Switch was doing against that Credilli, because the grass typing, helps it to resist electricity. So, gosh, just seeing that Pachi farm down, painful.
Oh, so painful. And if you look at it too, the Pachi and the Charizard lock didn't have to happen, but AJ lost the switch. And that was because the Mantine, was it the Mantine? Yeah, the Mantine was so thick and took all of that damage. So now you get Registeel into Charizard, and there you go, AJ.
Yeah, this is a much better matchup, forcing Red Panda to swap into their Mantine, and AJ once again safe swaps into her own Frostlass, which will be met with the immediately debuffing move of Bubble Beam, but knows that she can take one and still be able to deal out a lot of great damage.
After she saw the Ice Beam get thrown, she knows that she could take a hit, even if it's the Ice Beam, right? So she understands that Red Panda's got to get to the build up at least to the Ice Beam, and he's not even doing that. So now she's got tons of energy, 2 avalanches ready to go, double debuff. Will the shield come? We know that it doesn't KO.
Yeah, I don't think the first shield is going to come up, but I mean, you might get a
Ooh.
shield on the second one, which comes out immediately. And yes, Red Panda 405 does shield this next avalanche, knowing that it would put them very close to farm down range.
Love this play by AJ. Masking the energy to make your opponent think it's double avalanche and throwing the shadow ball instead, and Red Panda calling that out and saying, I read that a mile away. You're gonna have to do better than that. As another bubble, by the way, this is only bubble beam Mantine.
Yep.
Frostlass has only been bubble beam down, and they each gave up a shield, but Frostlass still winning that triple debuff now. A Volt Switch would take it out, but it is the lock-ons coming down. I mean, a Shadow Ball at this point will keep Registeel still in the green.
Yeah, exactly, because it's triple debuffed at this point, I think. But still, any chip damage that you can get against Registeel is nice. The problem is the Registeel farm down puts it in a, oh, that does so little. That's awful to see. The problem is that Charizard is going to come in, and now this Registeel has a ton of energy, and Charizard will have to give up the last shield to protect any energy it can gain.
And this is not good for Panda because there's still a Crawdilly in the pack for AJ. But Panda's got to, oh, that's a bait. That's a great bait by AJ.
That is, but I think that they got to it at the same time. And so now she has no shields to protect against this Zap Cannon from Registeel, which will certainly take that Charizard right off the field. And now Cradilly comes on, will be able to get a little bit of chip, but is going to be met by an
Oh, no! Red Panda making a catch, saying, you gotta earn this W if you want it. In comes the Pachirisu catch on the Grass Knot. That Focus Blast is ready on Registeel, and here comes the first charge move.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with shields out, Thunderbolt from Pachirisu, oh my god, it does so absurdly little. Goodness. I mean, they're both doing, I mean, Patchy is doing resisted damage against this Cradilly, and Cradilly can throw these Grass Knots and get Patchy probably off the field, but I mean, AJ has to maintain some energy for the Registeel that's going to come back in, but I think it's just going to get Focus Blasted as soon as it comes back.
She has to land the Grass Knot on it. Like, cannot lose the CMP. Yeah, she's got two locked up. She's got two locked up, and there it is. There's the Focus Blast. Wasn't even expecting it. Over tapped, and the Bullet Seed went through as the Focus Blast will secure the 7th point for TSwift. Go! The Swifties are coming in hot. They have not stopped. Oh my goodness.
They are looking quite dominant, quite like unhinged in their goal to destroy this team. I mean, AJ is playing her Frostlass incredibly well, and she did get the lead in that last matchup with Charizard against the Registeel, but her backline just doesn't seem to be able to contend with that Pachi.
No, Pachi seems to be doing so well, but she gets the Pachi onto the Crawdilly, which is great, and immediately swaps out into there it is. Indubitable comes back onto the field, and there it is with the payback.
We do see payback on this, and going to actually throw the Red Panda going to actually throw the bait here, trying to get that first shield, and does get that shield from AJ, who is building up a lot of extra energy to be able to throw she's almost at 2 avalanches, but needs a little bit more time to get there. Dubwool is already at the payback and will now throw it. If Frostlass doesn't get up this last shield, I think it's almost going to be a KO.
Huge.
Nice shield call from AJ, trying to protect her Frostlass, knowing that this switch advantage here is going to be integral based on her previous experiences with that Pachi.
Yeah, and especially Dubwool did what it needed to do, took out both the shields, and goodbye, Dubwool. Now that we've got more doubles, expect to see Dubwool now all over the place, especially
Mhm.
this remix cup. But Pachi is back and Pachi is here. And here comes the Shadow Ball. Now I like this. I want to see what a Shadow Ball does to Pachi.
Oh
Half
my
the
god. I mean,
health.
about half the health. God, it's so
We
such
just
a
found our
thick,
electric.
such a
What a
thick
catch!
little squirrel. And yes, AJ does catch the Thunderbolt onto her Credilli. No shields left on her side, so she knows she has to use a Pokemon instead. Pachi gets a little bit of extra energy, but then brings in the Registeel to catch this rock slide from AJ. Oh, which
Oof.
does so absurdly little. And now with
Oof.
no shields left in play, I mean, she's stuck in this matchup and she has to just start throwing as many grass knots as possible, trying to do as much chip damage as she can.
She still has the Frostlass and a third
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon. Did not bring out Tapu at all in this tournament, in these matchups, which with Meganium in there, but Meganium took a back seat because she has Frostlass. So, real
Mm-hmm.
interesting. The Focus Blast will take it out. The Charizard is there, but the shield is still on Red Panda's side. So,
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
say bring in Char and sacrifice Frost. No, she doesn't.
yeah, I almost feel like the play is you've got to try and catch a move somewhere. And
Hmm.
that can be so insanely hard to do with Registeel and
Wow.
lock-ons. I know I cannot count lock-ons for the life of me. And so, yes, we do see an attempt to catch Char on her Charizard there, and she does, but Registeel doesn't quite throw immediately, so
Oh,
we'll
she
be able to get a little bit of extra energy.
she gonna catch something. She's gonna catch some feels, a zap cannon, now a thunder punch. She's catching a lot
How
of
much does
fire
this even
from T
do?
Swift.
How much does this even do to the Frostlass? Oh, does take the
Woo!
Frostlass out. Just enough damage from that Pachirisu. Oh, I bet that hurt AJ to see her girl get treated that way. But
So
I mean,
bad.
the Frostlass was AJ's strongest player that game for sure. Just the versatility of
Hmm.
both Avalanche and Shadow Ball damage was great against Red Panda's whole team.
I'm really shocked we did not see Tapu Fini at all. It felt like the way with she bringing in the Frostlass to everything, that's its protector, right? She's worried about Meganium. She's worried about
I
the
mean, they brought
Gliscor.
Red Panda
Pachi.
brought the Pachi every time. So even if we didn't see the Meganium, I can see why you might think that Tapu is too big of a risk.
I
I'm
understand. I just
I'm a little disappointed that we didn't see the Scrafty come out from AJ. I think that
oh,
with both Registeel coming every game and Pachi coming every game, the spam potential of Power Up Punch while upping your own attack, I think would have had a lot more play there. But again, AJ played her Frostlass impeccably,
yeah,
as always.
as always. She
it's just
played so well and
yeah, it's just unfortunate that she just couldn't seem to keep it in the right matchups as much as she needed to.
that's right. She's got some bad blood now with Red Panda as they took the third matchup.
There's
Uh
a there's a notepad somewhere. A list
a
of
list
all
just
the enemies.
Pachirisu taking out my Frostless.
Get out.
And that is it is going to secure the 8th point for T Swifty as Backstage Battlers will have to give up the matchup there. But Final Boss AJ did play her heart out. Pachirisu is coming. Be on the lookout. And if you didn't get your double,
I
get to
know.
level 16 and win at least 3
Well,
or
now
1 battles to get your
with
wild Pokemon. What's
yeah,
up?
with Pachi coming to the Go Fest events, I'm really now concerned about the level of Pachi we are going to start seeing in GBL. I'm scared. I'm getting a little flushed.
We
It's coming for all of us, and I'm really worried about it now.
finally, look, I've been mad about not having Pachi since GoFest 2019. I was like, no! But now it's
I
coming out for global for everyone. What's
Yes,
up?
I'm happy about the accessibility. I'm happy that more people will have the option to have it, that it's not, such a limited trade viability. I went to the Go Fest in 2019 and I did not know the potential that it had
Oh
at that time. So I feel
no!
like I didn't catch nearly as many as I should. But on the flip side, I was able to give like my friend group that didn't, that wasn't able to go, I was able to get them their Pachis. So at least I know
Yay.
that I contributed in some way to the rise of the squirrel.
The rise of the squirrel, Pachirisu. Pachi, yeah, the Go Fest coming up. Be sure to get your global ticket so that you can secure yourself a Pachi, or find a friend who has a global ticket and say, hey, mate, can you grab me like 5 Pachi? Don't transfer them. Just grab me 5. We'll do a trade. What do you want?
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't go,
Pachirisu.
start stacking up your rare XL candies now.
Oh, now.
Just that's
do it now.
That's advice from me to you.
If you don't have them already, I mean that's definitely going to be one you're going to have to walk. And thank God it's a rodent, because I think it's only 1 km to get your candies if it's your buddy. So good luck out there with your Pachirisu's build during this Go Fest, as we have the 4th and final matchup now of Ballroom 88 versus Z-Gene. And we've got Defense Deoxys Dewgong, which got the new drill run. We've got Ninetales Shadow, Alolan style. We've got Quagsire Shadow. That unheard of Trevenant that's no longer
Who's
good.
That? I don't know them.
Okay. Don't worry. Lot to learn. Lickitung as the 6th, where Z-Gene is rocking the Dewgong, the Registeel, the G-Wizzing, Azumarill, Pelipper, and the Chestnut. I'm just going to say this right now. I hate Azumarill. There's one Pokemon.
So my feelings about Bastiodon are your feelings about Ozzy. Got it. In my notes now.
I mean, we're talking honestly, Twilight 2019 pure hate for Azumarill.
I mean, I don't know. Azumarill, I feel like has been it's declining slowly in popularity, just with the rise of so many good counters, the rise of Lantern. And for a while, Trevenant was so dominant and could flip that matchup, even though the Azu has Ice Beam. So I do feel like we don't see it as much, but people do tend to use it very comfortably, like they do Umbreon, to just soak some damage, sit there for a while, take a little break.
It's definitely one of the safest Pokemon, and when you pair it with a Registeel and a Medicham, you literally have the original BBML or an Altaria. Wait, what's that lineup?
Yeah, the original, the OG,
the OG BBML.
Yeah. Exactly. Sometimes you do still see that, and I'm like, oh, this is a nice trip down memory lane.
You're like, let me just give you my counters, and oh, is that a poison move I have? Bye-bye.
Exactly. Let me just show you my Nidoqueen real quick.
Oh, I miss Nidoqueen. With the new rise of Patchy, Azu is strong right now, but after Go Fest, you will be seeing it more and more in Great League and stuff like that. So watch the Yonkers video of Jay Jan's run with Azumarill to Legendary if you're trying to get it now, because that line is great. Good, it's Azumarill, Sandslash, and something else. And those two paired together are conquering this meta right now. So get it soon, because this weekend is Go Fest in New York.
No.
Next weekend.
No, that's next month. Oh my gosh.
That's next month. Okay.
Don't scare me like that.
Everybody's talking about Go Fest like it's like this coming up weekend. Like, we're getting it ready for New York.
What you're doing.
No. I'm just telling people to watch out for Go Fest. I'm talking about in Cirque. Anyways.
I do love
a great
Dewgong.
Let's talk about it.
I do love Dewgong on both teams. It's with the move update, getting Drill Run gives it a lot of really great coverage. And of course, Icy Wind being yet another debuffing move can come in real handy, even in the worst matchups.
It's also got that great Ice Shard, which is great against grass and flyers too. Like one of these ice, once we lost Walrein, we lost a really interesting aspect of countering flying with ice Pokemon, which then led for grass and things to like ground to like really conquer and dominate because there wasn't an ice factor. Now giving Drill Run onto a Sand Slash into this Dugong gives us this ice factor now that we can play against all of these tanks as well as the flyers. So it's just a wonderful anti-flyer that goes against some of the other anti-flyers, which help give us this ice aspect here into the GBL or into the meta. So I really like this as well. Great call there with the Dugongs. It also does well against that the Quagsire too. You get a nice little extra damage there for Quagsire. I don't know who wins that matchup, but
well, I think the Dugong can outpace. Quagsire will usually win the CMP. So if you shield the first Stone Edge, like this is a matchup I've seen quite a lot in Remix. If you shield the first Stone Edge on your onto your Dugong, then it leaves you in a pretty good position to debuff the Quagsire, and you can take the later Stone Edges no problem. I was going to say, I really do like that Galarian Wheezing over on Zijian's side. I think it has a lot of really great neutral potential against Barroom's whole team.
With the access to Brutal Swing now, it really opened up Galarian Wheezing to be able to put pressure down on the ghost or psychic Pokemon, give you some bait damage, some extra early damage. Because earlier, even before the Fairy Wind adjustment as well, Galarian Wheezing would take forever to get to a Play Rough or a Overheat. So now with the Fairy Wind being the Mud Shot clone, you've got Brutal Swing now to put some pressure down.
Overheat.
You get the
overheat potential. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know it's not stab, so it won't do nearly as much as we saw the Kanto Ninetales do in like the single type cup, for example. But oh my gosh, it's still such a strong move, and it can hit that whole team so hard.
So hard. So it's really interesting to keep an eye on that G-Weezing and what it's running, because it could literally, if it lands an Overheat on 3 of those Pokemon, it's out. G-Weezing could put Brutal Swing on the 2 of them. Like, you're looking at a really good neutralist Pokemon here in G-Weezing. So we'll have to see what Barroom does with it, or Zijian does with it, because needs to get the team's got to get some points. This should, like, if this turns out to be a blowout, well, the T-Swifters will never let us hear the end of it.
Again, I mean, we've watched these games. We've seen how incredibly close they all are, despite what the scorecard says. So I do believe that at this point, they've got to pull out even more stops. They got to unbury some stops, put them back in, and then pull them out all over again.
Well, let's go find out if they do pull out the stops over on the field now, as Zijian versus Barroom kicks up, and we've got G-Weezing shiny.
But in the worst matchup possible against the Shadow Quagsire from Barroom, immediately met with a Pelipper swap in from Zijian, which is I really like that play. Pelipper is a great safe swap against Barroom's team, but will be met with a Dugong now, and can throw off this Hurricane, and it lands on the Dugong for an incredible amount of damage. Dugong is pretty tanky, so it can take one pretty comfortably and will be able to throw off this first Icy Wind.
With that debuff now, after landing that Icy Wind, you can pretty much suggest that it's going to try to just spam off energy. Yeah, look at Barroom hitting it immediately. No, get it out of here, But the shield is coming up. And it's going to be going for all of this energy now, as this is double debuff Weather Ball coming in.
Yeah, I don't think that Barroom will use their shield here, but I do like that play from Zijian, really trying to get this Dugong out of the way and preserve their switch advantage, so that they're not faced with that potentially terrible matchup that they started off with. So they gave up a shield, but now they have a little bit more control.
I am all about this, recognizing that Weather Ball could come sooner again because Fairy Wind wouldn't take it out. Instead, bringing in Deoxys to soak up that Weather Ball instead of Quagsire. Like the opportunity here. And now we're going to get the Psycho boost, throw the energy, get the last shield. Ooh, this is huge now. Quagsire can come in.
I mean, it's a great play from Barum to force them to use that last shield. But now they are in a bit of a pickle as they Quagsire is met by the Chestnut.
Chestnut, the grass fighter that got the frenzy plan all the way out from the Alola land, gonna be able to just take this drill run or mud bomb again and be like, "You throwing stuff at me? Two shields Quagsire and might just go down." Oh my
God. Oh my
goodness!
gosh.
There's only one
And
Pokemon
now-
left on Barum's team, and there are two shields.
Exactly. I mean, he does have two shields on Defense Deoxys, one of the tankiest Pokemon available to us, and going to have to use both those shields now as this Chestnut is fully loaded on energy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Z-Gene swap out to try and preserve this Chestnut for just a little bit longer. Oh my gosh, Baroom doesn't even shield.
Maniac.
Just cracked. Just absolutely cracked play, but does allow Chestnut to get to this last frenzy plant and will force the last shield. But this Deoxys is absolutely loaded on energy, has a Psycho Boost to throw.
I don't know if this is going to be enough. No, because there's that fairy typing.
But then it debuffs. Oh, it does so much. So even, oh my gosh,
the brutal swing.
The brutal swing. The Galarian Wheezing able to get to the brutal swing just in time to land against this Deoxys, which does not have the health to withstand it. And Z-Gene does come back with a vengeance from a terrible lead to secure another point for the Backstage Battlers.
That was great play, kept the energy on the G-Weezing and was able to land it on that Psychic Pokemon. But this was Barum's game through and through. Complete control. And Z-Gene understood that. And he's like, well, if you're going to control it, I'm going to come back at you with energy. So brought the Chestnut, forced both the shields off of Quagsire, which was great. Now we're going to see what's going on as Defense Deoxys is now met with that G-Weezing. And now G-Weezing again has the Brutal Swing. Now Brutal Swing, even though it's super effective, not going to be as effective as the Psycho Boost. And look at this. ZG not going to throw immediately because he knows that the Psycho Boost needs to build for 2 so that the debuff doesn't really affect the Defense Deoxys and the first Brutal Swing comes off.
And I mean, I love that play from Z-Gene. Really understanding how the Deoxys needs to be played against them and forcing that Deoxys to shield first so that they can then put up this first shield against the first Psycho Boost, which will hit the hardest. The next one will be double debuffed.
And we see the immediate swaps into the Dugong. Oh, it's the overheat. Oh, it's the overheat. Oh, here comes the overheat. Is it going to be enough?
And Dugong is tanky, but is it tanky enough to withstand so much pressure? That does 60% of Dugong's health there. Dugong is a tanky mon. And now Chestnut comes in after that overheat debuff to the Galarian Wheezing. Chestnut comes in to soak this Icy Wind, which is neutral, but oh my gosh, does so much damage against this Chestnut.
Yeah, this is a grass Pokemon that doesn't want to see ice. It's going to debuff itself with the superpower, try to take off this Dugong. I like the play because now the next Pokemon that comes in, which should be Deoxys, won't get enough farm down off of it.
Exactly.
We'll have to find out what Barum does. Yes, it is the Deoxys, and there's the Lickitung in the back for that Pelipper. There you go, girl. There's your Pelipper. It's going to meet that Lickitung.
Oh my gosh. And we haven't seen Thunderbolt revealed from the Deoxys, but just that concern keeps Pelipper from coming out here. And the first Psycho Boost will be absorbed by the Galarian Wheezing enough to take it out. Pelipper comes in and is immediately met with the Lickitung so that Barum can preserve some energy on that Deoxys.
Barum is playing like Kimmy Sui with this Defense Deoxys. Just like, here's a Psycho Boost, I'm out. Oh, I've got one more counter and another Psycho Boost now that I'm back. I'm out again. Never being affected by the debuff, always putting the pressure on the opponent, and now Lickitung sitting here with the shield gonna take the Hurricane.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great play from Z-Gene to throw that Hurricane first because Lickitung is so tanky that, it's unlikely that last shield was going to be given up so early. So throwing the much higher damage move first really puts Z-Gene in a much stronger position going forward.
But I do think Weather Ball.
Oh, but
It's over.
yeah, no, the Thunderbolt is reached by Deoxys and is going to land on this unshielded Pelipper. I mean, it was a really strong play throughout the games from Zijin that time, but unfortunately, the Deoxys just was able to outlast long enough to be able to land that double super effective move onto the Pelipper.
Deoxys is just played beautifully in that last matchup.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. I mean, got the call on the G Weezing. It was the same team from Zijin too, so we'll have to see if they mix it up. Has the Registeel, still hasn't brought it. Let me repeat that. Has
I
not brought the
wouldn't
Reggie, which is
I
crazy.
wouldn't be surprised if we do see it in this
Game 3.
last one.
There it is.
And there we do see it lurking in the back. And this is kind of a strange matchup in the beginning here. Oh, and we see a beautiful catch from Zijin of the Registeel coming out to greet this icy wind from the Dugong and will be met by the Deoxys. I mean, this is kind of an odd matchup, right? Deoxys can only really do damage with its fast move of counter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of its charge moves are really hitting Reggie for all that much.
No, are
And
you
we
seeing
don't even
that?
see the attack don't buff. Oh my gosh.
Are you seeing the second move on Reggie? It is not Focus Blast on the Registeel. It is Flash Cannon. So the Thunderbolt's going to go through, take the Registeel to the red, and it is Flash Cannon. I like the call, Flash Cannon here. But at the same time, like, you didn't bring it in game 1. You're trying to use it as one win for game 3. You're 0-2. Like, you should, like, game 2, it should have been brought. And there he goes. The timer's off, and Registeel is off the table. Looks like our opponent.
We just pause this timer real quick while my Registeel faints.
Right,
Not a big deal.
Registeel lasted 5 seconds. I see Registeel was only on for 5 seconds. Okay, great. The first shield comes for the Thunderbolt as the defense Deoxys is finally gonna get off the table. Now,
Exactly.
Zijin might think they're in a great position. The only problem is it is double ice on this team, and there is a Chestnut in the back.
Oh, it's very unfortunate. Again, I mean, a great call by Zijin throwing that really more powerful move first to get all the damage they can off on this Dugong. But Dugong just simply knows they do not need to shield any of these moves, and they can comfortably get to this icy wind to debuff the Pelipper even further. And now Zijin has to save that last shield for the Chestnut.
Dugong's like, I don't give.
And it's a
charm. Oh, that's even
it's
worse.
A charm, Shadow Tails, and now that is even worse news. You are right. That is even worse news for the Chestnut in the back, because the fighting subtyping here means that these charms are absolutely chunking away,
especially on the grass type with that. Ice typing too, just giving that extra stab. That is,
my gosh.
Like, even if the Registeel was to have been, the Registeel needed to have been paired for that, and they took the Registeel out of the game early, and that is how the Ninetales was able to just charm its way through the end of that entire battle. So that is gonna do it for them. For that matchup, it is 10-2. Kaz, what did you see in this matchup?
Pain. I saw a lot of pain. I mean, those first 2 games of these last 2 battlers were really intense. I mean, a constant dance of not just energy, but also swaps. And both of them handled it incredibly well. The last game came a lot more down to unfortunately, the alignment and the reveal of that charm, Shadow Ninetales, when they had been counting on that Chestnut in the back. It was just devastating. I could feel it from here.
once you revealed the Registeel, Charmtails feels a little better now, even if there's a Azumarill in the back, or a Pelipper in the back, or a Chestnut in the back, right? Or Dugong, or the Weezing. Because Weezing has to get to the overheat. So you're still able to put at least some chunk down and spam off, because there were shields for Barham too. But Zijin played that game one so beautifully, holding the
Yeah.
energy on the G Weezing there, that they
Yeah.
brought it back in game two. And unfortunately, it didn't play out because Barum made the adjustment and called it in the beginning. Now, Zijin tried to force Barum in the matchup, but Barum threw, then lost the debuff by swapping out, then built up for another one, threw, then lost the debuff, and was able to force his opponent to give up shields and read the in-game macro play. So there was great matchups there from both of the battlers whatsoever, but that third game was so ugly as it ended up being an unfortunate RPS and that Charm Tails onto that Chestnut. Ugh.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it really hurt. I mean, I do like them bringing out Registeel. I think that was a great call by Zijin. And again, I think Flash Cannon has a lot of play against Barum's team. Very smart call in terms of move choices there. It was just unfortunate that they couldn't, it couldn't get into the right place in that matchup because the Deoxys matchup is weird. It's weird against the Registeel because it is doing super effective damage with counter. Even if you don't have to use any of your shields, you're still taking a lot of damage in the meantime. Yeah. And again, the G Weezing play was incredible. I think the versatility of that Pokemon really Zijin used to their advantage in this game. They made a lot of great calls that I like in throwing those hard-hitting moves, trying to really tell Barum, like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to use my hard-hitting moves. You better shield. But Barum was packing a lot of very tanky Pokemon that could take those moves and didn't feel the need to give up those shields as easily as Zijin might have hoped.
Right, with the Lickitung, the Dugong, and the Defense Deoxys, three thick Pokemon there, able to soak up all that energy and give him 2 more wins for the TSwifties to put up a 10-pointer here. But Backstage Battlers did get 1 back from Zijin, as we are going to now go into our final matchup here against that Gengar Life versus Quasar. Now, both are rocking the Unova Stunfisk. That's the pancake you can't see. But my favorite, the flat one, the little flat one. That's best gift I got. The one Pokemon I'm gonna big a huge shout out to, and I'm so happy to see her come out, and that's the Lapras.
Shadow Lapras, such a fun pick.
Yeah. With the chance of Water Gun too, could be effective. Has the Surf, has Ice Beam, has Skull Bash, another before Walrein, one of the only Ice Tank Pokemon. You had Dugong, but there was no extra damage where you had Surf on Lapras, you have Ice Beam on Lapras, and that Skull Bash defense boost. You get that right, you get it.
Yeah, and with no grass, really, like no grass damage except for maybe from the Cresselia, which is like non-stab damage anyway. I think that Water Gun Lapras actually does have a surprising amount of play against Quasar's team.
Yeah, I would be careful of the Pancake because it does have access to Thundershock. But looking at Gengar team, you kind of want Thundershock with that Pancake. It looks the best, but we'll have to find out if Quasar goes with that. Do you think it's going to be Charm Tails again?
Ooh, I mean, I don't know. It's tricky because, like, yes, Charm Tails obviously puts you in a great position against the Obstagoon, against pretty much the whole team, except for that Venusaur and Charizard. So while, yes, it does put you in a strong position to just chunk some Pokemon down, I still like the versatility of Powder Snow more. And it puts you in a much better position against those bad matchups of Charizard and Venusaur. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the Charm Tails, but, the higher damage might win out.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out how they play it out. I do like their matchup. It seems like it's going to be really fun. 2 mirroring Pokemon. And both those Pokemon do play on both teams. So whether they're going to play with those Pokemon or not is on them. And like I said, the Lapras is just so great. And the 2 starter Pokemon, having the Venusaur Charizard, one of my favorite. But the Cofagrigus is there, one of the 3 safe swaps. like the safest of
It's not
safe
as
swaps.
safe. It's not as safe with Obstagoon there. Like,
Kofa, right?
it can do absolutely nothing against that
Uh,
Obstagoon. So
I
it
was
might
hold on, I wasn't
might
done. I wasn't done.
oh
I was gonna
all
say
right, all
three
right.
safe swaps that literally don't want to see Obstagoon.
Yeah. There
Greedent,
you go.
Cresselia, and Cofagrigus. I love
Mhm.
Kofa, but those three safe swaps right there, if Gengar Life marries the Obstagoon properly, they're not safe swaps anymore. So Quaza
Yeah.
may bring it out as their closer instead. But we'll have to figure it out as we're gonna get into the fifth battle. Is there anything else you want to say about this matchup before? Anything else you see before we get into it?
I mean, I love Greedent, just like aesthetically. Like
Tackle or Bullet Seed?
I very much identify with the chunky squirrel, and we've seen a squirrel wreak havoc already. I think it has a lot of great neutral play against Gengar Life's team. I mean, the spam, and with tackle, that one-term move, that might get you the extra damage you need against some of the tankier options on Gengar Life's team. And I mean, it has much better play against something like Obstagoon, something like Cresselia, something like Venusaur and Charizard and Stunfisk. No, wait, you want Bullet Seed for that. Never mind.
You know
But
what
it's
though?
still
With the tanky,
I think it has a lot of really good play still as a safe swap. So I wouldn't count it out just yet.
I wouldn't say you need Bullet Seed for Stunfisk. I think with the Body Slam spam that you get, because Tackle still gets to it pretty quickly, you'll be good.
That's true.
But excellent point all around with all that. Greedent is safe. But again, that Obstagoon, if it's not the safe swap for Gengar Life in game one, that will be like so shocking, the big brain call that he makes. But we're going to head down to the fifth and final matchup of this wonderful Indigo PvP as the
Yes.
TSwifty fan club has dominated the backstage battlers and are getting into the final and last matchup. And no, we got
and
more
we
bad blood in
immediately-
here.
But if it's a Powder Snow Ninetales, which it is,
Nope.
this actually has a lot more play against the Charizard, as it can get to these Weather Ball ices very quickly. And against a Shadow Charizard, that actually does force against the first shield.
Girl, it's a Fire Spin Charizard.
Oh my god, it is, isn't it?
It is
no.
a Fire Spin. This is not Wing Attack. This is what all of us fire Pokemon trainers want, is the Fire Spin to come back. Not enough to KO, and Lapras is going to take a Weather Ball. That's incredible move right there from the Gengar Life as the Shadow Lapras just brushes that off and Ninetales goes away. Now the Cresselia is no longer locked in here but can throw on the Grass Knot and make a swap. So we'll find out what they do.
Yeah, I mean, the Cresselia has the Grass Knot, and the Gengar Life has already given up their first shield, so they are going to let this first Grass Knot through, and it does so much damage to the Shadow Lapras. And this Cresselia is tanky and will take this first surf. No, going to throw up the first shield, protect some energy on this Cresselia, knowing that Obstagoon might be lurking in the back, and they might still need to get to a Moonblast.
That is very smart and good read on Quaza. Not to mention that Lapras is, again, a tank. So, gonna need more than just a Grass Knot. You're gonna need two, maybe three. And the Cresselia is now in the yellow. What will Gengar Life do? They do bring the Obstagoon, but brings back the Charizard.
Oh my gosh. And the Cresselia does throw the Moonblast here, but I don't know. I feel like the better play would have been to preserve the energy on that Cresselia and instead swap earlier. And we do see Tackle Greedent come out only to be met by that Obstagoon.
And it's not Cross Chop Obstagoon, it's Hyper Beam out there Obstagoon.
Oh no.
You can get Hyper Beam, Gunk Shot, so we might get a Hyper Beam in this matchup. We'll have to find out, but these counters are putting the pressure down on the Rodent, and it is that Tackle, it looks like, from on that Greedent side as well. So building up the energy and putting that fast move pressure down. Now, I say Tackle because it does really well against Altaria, but it does not seem to be affecting Obstagoon at all, if anything.
I mean, certainly the body slam spam is still out in force from this Greedent, which, oh my
Oh!
god, gets a simultaneous KO. But this Charizard has so much energy, and neither one of Cresselia's charged moves here are going to be effective. So it's going to need at least 2 Moonblasts to break through these shields. Oh my gosh,
Ooh.
going for the grass knot, but not before Charizard gets to the final blast bird. And this will secure the victory for the Gengar life.
Even if they would have thrown the blast burn first, any charge move would have been enough.
Mhm.
That Cresselia was so low, and Fire Spin coming in huge for the Gengar life there. Beautifully done.
Oh,
Lapras
that,
shows
yeah.
off just its wonderful skill as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really good knowledge of their Charizard there, and knowing that that fire spin damage might actually prove more valuable. Putting the hurt on the Alola Ninetales, which I, again, thought might be in a better position because of its access to Powder Snow, but now Quaza knows better. But we still see the Ninetales come out against the Lapras from the Gengar life and
Yeah, in
immediately
immediate
swap
swaps.
in.
I
Oh,
like that call immediate because Lapras will out tank that with Surf. Even the weather balls won't do it. You need to be able to hit it with Dazzling Gleam hard. But the first Moonblast is coming in. Is Gengar thinking bait? Because this is going to be a little effective and take Charizard in the yellow and gets the debuff too. So will the
oh my
debuff
gosh.
mean that Cresselia doesn't shield here?
I don't think Cresselia,
Absolutely!
yeah, I don't think Cresselia would have shielded anyway because even, I mean, it's a tanky Pokemon, and still, even if the Blast Burn were not debuffed, would have been able to take it at least comfortable enough to get to this move. But Charizard still does not give up a shield and forced to throw energy before this Cresselia can get to another grass knot that would, in fact, knock out the Charizard. And Cresselia gives up another shield just to get to that last bit of energy.
I love
Oh my
the
gosh.
entire T-Swifty play. They have forced their opponents into shield disadvantage the entire night. Battle after battle, we see them staying alive with 1 HP. The Umbreon getting the foul plays in the early matchups, right, with like sliver of health. Now you've got the Obstagoon in, getting the damage off. The same thing with Charizard. The T-Swifty team can't be stopped. And you get a proc! Oh, it's over now.
Oh,
That's a big
you
old
get the
boost now.
attack boost on the Obstagoon. And I mean, I like this call, this adjustment from Quaza, bringing in the Pancake, the Novan Stunfisk to try and put in some spammy damage, not only onto this Obstagoon, but also to threaten that Lapras as well.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I can't tell. It is Thundershock. See, it came with the
Yeah.
Thundershock. They came to play. Great job on Quaza, but it is not matched up with either of those
Yeah.
Pokemon. So it
But
does
still,
not help.
this
That,
is a great call from Quaza,
oh
not giving up. Oh my
no!
god, another boost! Insane! Absolutely insane Obstagoon from the Gengar life. But I like the play there, not
Ooh,
giving up a shield on, not giving up a shield on the Unova Stunfisk, but trying to preserve that shield for the Alolan Ninetales in the back, trying to catch a move on Cresselia, but Cresselia just did not have enough health. Oh my god. Did you see how much damage that quadruple boosted Night Slash did on
and this
this
one's gonna KO
Alolan
it.
Ninetales? Oh
Dark
my
typing is
gosh.
officially anti
Oh,
Ninetales. Boosted Night Slash. You see it here. Night Slash is the anti Ninetales. There it is, folks.
oh
And,
my gosh. Yeah, easy peasy. Land two boosts to your Night Slash, and you
and
can
you're
take
good.
care of Alolan Ninetales, no problem.
Wipe that
Just
dust off your
right up.
shoulder.
Oh my gosh. That, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, the T Swifties forced all the shields from their opponent as early as they possibly could while using tanky Pokemon that they knew they did not have to give up their shields as on as immediately.
No.
Ugh,
It,
incredible play. But I mean, the backstage battlers also really good with their timing, with their energy management, knowing that if they weren't gonna be able to like force the shields, that at least they could use multiple shields of their own.
they really did make catches and try to like, you saw it in the last game here,
Yeah.
trying to swap out to make the catch with the Cresselia, but the
Mhm.
double boosted counter was just too much. So
Yeah.
it is definitely 100% the TSwift fan club who came out on top and recognized it and basically took over the tank meta. As you just saw, nothing but thickness and thickness, 1 HP and dreams, surviving after surviving. It was incredible matchups to
Yeah.
watch all around.
Exactly. I mean, even as dominant as some of those matchups could see, I mean, the play from both sides was really finely tuned. Each side kind of knew what their strategy was, and as a team, they shared that strategy with one another really well. And it just so happens that the T Swifties were able to maneuver their way around with that thickness and that energy a little bit better. But I liked a lot of the plays from the backstage battlers, really fine tuning their Pokemon and understanding the moves that they needed to throw and when they needed to throw them.
Yeah, it was a wonderful battle between two amazing faction teams that
Mm-hmm.
are sticking together, had a great community. You could tell all of them, even in one of the texts, good luck, best of luck, like everybody
Yeah.
in the notifications, a great team matchup here. It was a 13-2 ending story here for T Swifty. I mean, when T Swift comes to town, basically everything's over, right? It's only T
It's
Swift
true.
and
Yeah.
two other things off to the side are like really, really off to the side. But congratulations to the T Swifty fan club for having a great showing and winning a Indigo PvP. Thank you to
Yeah.
both the teams for joining us tonight and being a part of Indigo PvP, as the battlers had a great time in the chat room talking about it and being wonderfully and respectful to each other. Appreciate you all for joining and participating here in Indigo PvP and having some good fun.
It's one of my favorite aspects of the team battling is like that extra level of communication, not just with your team, but with the opposing team. Just having that little bit of extra action that helps build the PvP community is really, really not only fun, but also important to kind of maintaining this community that we do have with so many other talented battlers.
Yeah, and also helps you just look at things in another way. You might see a team
Mhm.
and be real hard focused on, what were we hard focused on against AJ? I think we were hard focused on like Scrafty or something, and it never came.
Yeah.
Right? So
No,
like you could
I
be
said
really
that I
hard focused.
wish Scrafty had
Right,
come
right.
out,
That's right. And it never came, right? But you could have been hard focused thinking about Scrafty or Abomasnow, right?
Mhm.
Never bringing the Venusaur because you're thinking about
Yeah.
Abomasnow, but your teammates are like, guy, bring out the Abomasnow. It's
Yeah.
going to do you just, or bring out the Venusaur. It'll do you just. Like, that is
Yeah.
what your teammates are there for. And a great battle here and a great team. Team coordination through both matches. So thank you to the team captain James Guns and the Jerpies for bringing these two teams to us. Thank you, Miss Hurricane Kaz, for joining me today on the table. Definitely
Of
had
course.
a wonderful time laughing it up and watching these battles with you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was so fun talking over these battles with you. I mean, I always have fun, here at Indigo PvP. So I'm, again, very thankful that we have this way to keep some of the team battling alive until we figure out what the next sort of format is after Sylph, unfortunately, sunsets. But I do believe that things like this are how we keep that community and team building alive.
Absolutely. And this is still going to be here. August 8th is going to be the next date, and I've already secured 2 teams. It's actually a rematch. Well, not really a rematch.
Oh.
It's not Backstage Battlers. We just watched them.
We just watched them, Sosa.
It's going to be BTW Tress, so the third
Nice.
BTW team, versus Pallet Town PvP again. So another Pallet Town PvP team will be battling another BTW team, and they're going to be our August 8th. It's going to be the week before Worlds, the Indigo
Oh my
PvP
God.
before Worlds. It's going to be fire. We're going to have so much fun. So hopefully you all are going to be able to join us through that. Be sure to be liking these videos so that we know that you guys are appreciating these Indigo PvPs and that you like it. If you want to stay up with that tournament and what's going on with Indigo, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as I'll be posting videos and also being in recaps for Indigo PvP as well.
Yay!
Yeah, we're set for August 8th. So the next 2 weeks, we're good. Gonna have some fun, and then boom, world battling between BTW and Palatine PvP.
It'll be a nice little teaser. Nice little teaser before Worlds, before we're all absorbed for the whole weekend in who our next world champion is gonna be. I'm very excited for both of these things.
I'm so excited for both these things, but I'll pick your brain for 2 seconds about Worlds.
Oh.
Kaz, who do you think is pulling what region? Just not hard. NA, APAC, EU, or LATAM? Who do you think is pulling it?
That's really tough because I feel like I'm very strongly biased because I know a lot of people from NA going, and I know how much they practice, how hard they work, and they are very talented. But we've certainly also seen a lot of incredible talent over in the APAC region. Like, I'm actually really excited to see some of the Australians come up for Worlds. I think is going to be really interesting. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. I don't want to sound biased, but I do like a lot of the NA competitors, and I really hope that they pull it out all of those stops, just like we saw some of the battlers do here tonight.
Excellent. NA's got great battlers. I don't understand why you wouldn't feel so biased. We've literally seen
because I live here.
Battlers.
I don't want to seem like I'm biased.
But we've seen so many NA battles. We've seen so many NA regionals. Neuralcar did great at bringing us EU. We only saw a couple of APAC and a couple of LATAM. So I can understand why you don't. And we don't even know what the Japanese scene looks like. Like, we really have no clue. So
it's an unfortunate circumstance that I don't think that the other regions get as much coverage as NA does. And that's like part of my thing of like, I don't want to sound biased, but I see them play so much more.
Yeah.
And I know how they play and how hard they all work. And especially how hard they work together. They all like are constantly sort of practicing and bouncing ideas off of each other. And that's really fun for me to see as well. But again, it's like I don't feel like I see the other regions as much, but I know that they have a lot of talented battlers as well.
They do. And NA is a good one. It's good to root for NA. I'm going for EU. I think it's going to stay in EU. I don't think it's going to be Dancing Rob, but that's because I've not seen him. But you never know. I think EU's just been so dynamic with the metas that we've had to bring in different Pokemon and spice Pokemon and good fighting Pokemon. And I think NA is great, but they are all methodical. There is not one NA player that I was like, besides Kimi Sui, that was real electrifying, that I was like, oh yeah, he's doing it. But most NA players, you read the teams, you can understand, all right, they're going to go for the throws. They're going to build up for the energy. They're so, not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I think EU could surprise everybody.
You feel like they're a little less predictable. And I think that's right. I do feel like whenever I have watched the coverage for the EU regionals and even the EU IC, like, I do think that they bring a little bit more spice. They have a little bit better knowledge of how to use that spice. Whereas in NA, it can start to feel a little stale just because we see a lot of the same Pokemon being used in very similar ways. Because again, I feel like there's a lot of communication over here and we don't get that same coverage of other regions. I wish we did.
Hopefully next season. Hopefully this season got us some good financial building that we could finally see all of those battlers. If you're watching this from the Japanese region and you want to be a part of this, come on down. I'd love to have an all Japanese 2-team Japanese team battle it out. Or India. I did a thing with India a while back. They have a great region out there. Just so hard to see these battlers and have them come out. But with the new exposure and how things are going, hopefully we can get them out. But yeah, I'm excited for Worlds. NA is so strong because we've been able to see it. EU is unpredictable. We'll hope to see what turns out as August is coming to the end, or coming close. Oh my God, we're less than a month away.
I know. I'm very excited. I mean, I feel like it's been like a really like tough uphill climb like this whole way, you know,
Oh yeah.
trying to get to the end of the regional season, and constantly like that constant question of like who will win, who will like get first, who will get second, like who is going, you know. And now we have all those answers, and just the anticipation is really palpable. So I literally cannot wait to watch the World Championship and just be screaming at home on my couch as I, you know, cheering for all of my favorite battlers.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to hopefully you'll have a house party or a watch party so that you can have all the fun with Pokemon trainers throughout this next month for Worlds. Be on the lookout as all the Worlds updates will be popping off. Be sure to check out dragovids.com as they give a ton of stats and have the list of all the battlers going out from all the regions, where they're from. It's an amazing resource for you, the battler, to get a hold of and understand and see what kind of teams these battlers did bring to all of their tournaments. Thank you again, Miss Hurricane Kaz, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your
you were so
lovely
welcome.
fun time and just so much fun.
These battles were incredible. A lot of fun to watch. I know that sometimes maybe people wish the scorecard looked a little bit closer, but we watched them here, every single one, and they were all incredibly close matchups. Each team displaying that they have a really great knowledge of their Pokemon and a really great team camaraderie to work with. So thank you so much for having me once again.
You can check out Hurricane Kaz at Twitter now because she has a Twitter. She has social media, so go ahead.
I actually exist on the internet.
And she's the captain of the Queen Bee faction team for the girls at PvP. So,
and you can find me on Twitter. I am at the Hurricane Kaz.
The Hurricane Kaz. Excellent. The. Thank you to BTW's Matthew Breaker for being our editor tonight and giving us these wonderful videos. Thank you to the battlers again for being a part of this, Backstage Battlers, and a TSwift fan club. Hopefully they go on to the next city and just have such a great time singing their hearts out. But that is going to wrap it up for us here at the Indigo PvP. Thank you all for watching Poke Battle Network's Indigo PvP. I'm SosaFlo. That was Hurricane Kaz. And like always, keep on battling. Whoop, whoop.